right, everyone, we are back. We had so much fun with Module 1. We're going to go on to Module 2. I'm going to break down this overview, little introduction, beginning. I want to show you how to maximize your 4K shots. And then I'm going to go into the intermediate work for the module and then the fundamental. Again, I'll break things down by chapter so you can skip ahead at the appropriate time if you need to. For now, I wanted to talk to you about 4K footage. So if your phone is like mine, I have an iPhone SE and you're filming on that, shooting at 24 frames per second is only available if I shoot 4K. So what I wanted to show you was how to maximize that in Premiere. And what I mean by that is how can you turn one shot into two or potentially three, four, however many. So I'm going to go up to, I'm going to create, let's do it this way, a new sequence. All right, so what I want to make sure is that I'm using the correct frame rate. So you would have shot at 24 frames per second. And I want to make sure I'm at that 1080p. That is the same as 16:9. That is the same as full HD. They are all the same. Again, you'll see it 23,976. That's kind of, you'll learn a little bit more on frame rate and why it's there, but it's going to be the same as 24. So I just, for this one, went under digital SLR and 1080p. And again, that's setting up my canvas. So if you think of it in terms of a painting, I've established what my canvas is now. It's going to be 1080p, which is smaller than 4K. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. There's our sequence right there, which is this over here. And again, if I was doing more, I would organize this by creating bins and making things all nice and pretty. But I have a 4K shot right here, just somebody walking on a beach. So as I go to bring it in, it should tell me that this is a different size since this is a 4K shot and this is a 16:9 sequence. It should tell me that it's off. I'm still holding on my mouse. Let's see, did it work? Yeah. So what it might do, it says this clip doesn't match. You need to change the sequence to, they're asking if I want to make the sequence now 4K. And I'm going to say keep existing settings, meaning let's just keep everything the same. Okay, so now we can see what our shot should look like over here. And maybe some of you have already accompanied that. That's fine. I'm going to show you how to do it now. Now looking at it, it is really zoomed in. That's okay. All right, so let's say, for instance, I can right click and I can, and again, this is probably what I showed you first. I can scale to frame size so that it's pretty close. I can get rid of that black there so that we're not getting those letter boxes up at the top. Okay, and that's just the 4K scaled down to fit into 16:9. All right, but that's what I just told it not to do. I didn't want that to happen. So when I bring it in, this is what I have. Really now, if you highlight your clip and you're over in effects controls right here, you can do all sorts of stuff with it now. Now I can turn this shot into a little bit more of a close-up. Right? So I maybe starting them right there, walking in. All right, and I kind of get a feel for how I want it. Maybe as they get there to the center of the screen. Now what I can do, I can Control K or cut, and I can now set this. First what I can do is, my business partner hates it. I just scale the frame size all the time. He's like, do it by hand. Because once you scale to frame size, you can't really play with it more. But I'm going to just do that for the time being. Just reset that there. And I'm going to zoom in again, just a little, get rid of it. So you can kind of see now what it looks like. Playing, I essentially got two shots. If they're too similar, right, it's jump. And that jump a little bit, but not not too, probably less, if I just kind of diverted this, it might seem less jarring if I went the other way. Say they're walking in. I'm just, for the sake of time, I'm going to zoom up just a little. I'm going to control K and I'm going to scale this to frame size. All right, so now if you ever get it into any issue, that always just kind of puts things back to where it should be. But the idea is you can really kind of play around with it however you want. All right, so now walking into close. So see how I used one shot to my advantage. And if you want to kind of see where it is, there's usually a little, let's see if I can get it to do it. There. All of this area in here, see that blue line, the dots? I know that that's like how much room I have to play with going from 4K down to 16 by 9 where my shot's going to be in focus. So I can, once it goes black, obviously like that, I need to keep that in mind. But I can't zoom in more. If I do, I'm going to lose my quality. But I know essentially I can have this person, walking in whatever capacity I want. I have a lot of room to work with. So this is called mastering in 16 by 9, right? So we're mastering, our final thing is going to be in 16 by 9. But as you're filming and you want to maximize that 4K, you don't always have to just scale it down. You can really use it to your advantage. So there again is my original 4K shot, just scaled down. Again, I just right clicked and I save time by doing scale down. You can do it manually, clicking on the clip, going to effects controls, and you can see it's how it's manipulated. I had to go in just a little bit just to get rid of the boxing so that it would match up. But you can play with any of it in here, just like how I was clicking on it before. And again, if you ever get in trouble, that will undo everything. All right, so that's just a little another way. I know I've posted some videos on uh, maintaining it, but I've never really, I think, showed you that you can take it to your advantage. And again, that is because I want you to shoot in 24 frames per second because it is more cinematic and it's a cinema-driven course. But I'm pretty sure iPhone does that for all, is you can only shoot 24 frames in 4K. And I have some different reasonings behind it. I don't know. I don't work for them, but my thought is if you're shooting 60 frames a second or 30 frames, you're getting more information. You're going to need more storage on your phone, things like that. I don't know. I don't think it's a conspiracy, but I think there's a reason behind it, and I don't know what it is. And probably some of the newer models can shoot that way. Who knows? All right. So that being that, that's a little something for everybody. I'm going to go on to intermediate. All right, we are on module 2. As I say that, I'm going to make it available so I don't forget later. All right. Now, for this one, if you've had me before, which most of you have, you'll know I have like assignments, lectures, everything you need kind of on this first click. I did it a little different. So that's why this please read I have here is me just saying I've kind of done it a little bit differently just for this module because we're kind of doing 3 different things. So please make sure that you're reading each section carefully, that you understand. Again, all the assignments are grouped together in one place. I've broken it down into these 3 chunks, basically, is what you'll be dealing with. So you have frame rates, story idea, commercial. All right, so frame rates. Nice, easy. I just want to make sure that these concepts are making sense to you when I'm talking about frame rate. I know we've gone over it before. These are 2 good visual ways of looking at it that get broken down into nice representations of exactly what I'm talking about. How can you use it? Such as if you shoot at 60 frames a second and bring it into a 24 frame master, like I had just showed on Premiere, how I'm mastering it in a different frame rate. Um, that'll give you some good slow motion. So there's some good tips and things that you can learn about watching this. You don't really have to do much of anything other than just simply state that you watch both videos and that you know how to adjust frame rate on the device you'll be using for the semester. If you have any questions or need clarification on frame rate, you can email me or ask it on the assignment. That's all. Just respond. You don't have to really do much more than that, because I'm not wanting to overwhelm you, because you should know too, and I should have said this, things will be due February 18th. So you have a little bit more time than normal to actually get something done. So I've put a few extra days of doing this. So I don't want to overwhelm you. Okay, so your next uh, assignment's going to be the story idea. So last module we talked about formatting again and the history of formatting, and that's really good. That's the structure. That's how we can structure our film so that it's pretty on the page. We talked a lot last semester about we're kind of understanding story and idea, our act structure. So we have a 3-act structure, we have scene structure, but what I'm kind of interested in for this module is to start getting you thinking about what it is you want to film, like your big film for the semester. But I want to kind of break it down into why is it you want to film what it is you film? Why are you drawn to what you're drawn to? So on and so forth. So now that we've looked at screenplay formatting, it's a good idea to step back from the construct of scripts and look at the content. Sort of like a coffee cup is the structure and the liquid is the content. So the meaning, the purpose, essence, and reality. They work together and harmoniously. Um, a lot of times, and I think this is a good analogy for films today, is imagine the most beautiful office building you have ever seen. Just well constructed, well designed, just very beautiful, very breathtaking. And yet, if you were to go inside and see the employees, they're miserable and they're being treated poorly. So we have well structured films. We just don't have great content in the films anymore. There's nothing in it that's like, why did I watch this other than I was entertained? Um, so if you have a beautifully written script and that is well formatted, but the essence, the meaning, and the message of the script is not worthwhile, you don't really have much of anything other than entertainment. Which entertainment's great. We all love that. But it's also an art, right? Um, if you enjoy going to museums or something like that, like I do, you enjoy the art behind it, the meaning, the message, what's being done. It's not just um, well, in some cases, the abstract stuff I don't get, and I don't think you're always supposed to get something. So there is room for that type of art, I suppose, in the world, but we can't be. We're so inundated with shallow films now. So I think you can start looking deeper at how do I make this that's something that's worthwhile. And this is coming from a guy who loves a good kick back, relax type movie where I don't want to be inundated with a message. But you're in college right now and you're getting history, psychology, literature, religion, art, anthropology, all these areas that culminate into what makes a good movie. So um, now's a good time to start exploring what it is you believe, why you believe it, and how film can help impact people in a good way. Because we all want to see the world change for the better, and we should hope to express that in what we create artistically. Otherwise, we're just kind of making something for the sake of making something and nothing higher to it. It loses a bit of its art form if it were. So, and you don't have to be preachy in this. I'm not saying make a God's Not Dead or make that environmental film that just hits you over the head with the message. Not at all. Movies like Forrest Gump and The Shawshank Redemption, beautiful. right? Great story, great sort of the kind of movies that you could come out of and want to go to a restaurant with your friends and talk about it. What did you just watch? What does it mean? Because it tells you something about your life and existence and meaning and purpose and all those things. And we all want that. We're a story driven culture. We're, as a species, stories have helped us survive. We need good stories that help us live a better life. Um, but ask yourself this, like where I'm finding myself now is, um, how has my life improved from watching this, right? Filmmakers are asking me to give an hour of my life, or hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever. Um, why? Why did I just give you that precious thing called my time for your film? And I think as artists, we better have a good answer for that. Again, saying, I want you to relax. I want you to be taken away for X amount of time to be catapulted in this world of my design for you to relax and unwind. Perfectly valid reason. I just think we could go deeper. Great example, Pixar. Pixar makes some amazing movies. It could be, a story about a father fish finding his child fish, which sounds silly, but it comes and culminates into this, story about trust and overcoming anxiety and parenthood and all sorts of things. So, um, it's one of my goals is to get filmmakers to start being conscious of that, because I think we start at the how do we entertain people, what entertains us. I'll make what entertains me because presumably it will entertain other people. All right. So here's what I want you to do. Step one, please answer the following questions in a complete way, but totally dependent on your own interpretation or response, meaning there's no right answer, and the length of what you write is up to you. So think of it more as a journal. So, what is art to me? What is the power of film as an art? What is the role of cinema in society? What are the biggest issues facing students my age? How can a film help students my age without being preachy? Are films merely an escape for most people? So just write whatever, however you feel moved to write there. Okay. So now for step two, start thinking about a story idea you might want to do for the semester. You're going to have one big film, kind of like last in fundamentals. All right. Start thinking of something that interests you, whatever that might be, and something you could realistically film in 4 to 7 minutes. Again, you're not going to be beholden to this idea if for some reason you don't like it anymore. But now is a good time to start thinking about that. So, are you drawn to comedy, to drama, to horror, sci-fi, um, whatever it might be? I might have said comedy. Yeah, I did. Whatever it might be, mockumentaries. Who cares, right? Okay, now you're drawn to that. And again, start thinking what is something you think people would watch and benefit from. I want to create something for people to unwind and relax. I want to draw attention to blank by showing it in a horror film. These are all valid answers. You're an artist, you can decide. And again, this won't necessarily be the film that you do make, but it sure could be. Okay, so you only need to write on step two, you only need to write out something for parts two and parts four. So for part two, write your story in one paragraph, just one, no more than 10 sentences, right? If you need, don't get all cute with commas and semicolons and dashes. The idea is to keep it short and sweet. Um, keep it simple, but you know, is complex, don't, but complete, right? So, an example, after losing the big football game, a student whose scholarship is dependent on his GPA uncovers a campus wide conspiracy to fail him from the school so a new quarterback can be brought in. I don't know how realistic that is, but I can argue uh, that I'm playing with a sense of fear and anxiety that student athletes have to perform both in class and outside of class. Um, the trick is to keep it simple enough to keep it in the time frame of no more than 7 pages, because that's gonna start to get to be unrealistic. I don't want to put too heavy of a burden, but I know some students kind of need that buffer time. The other is, if once you get past 7 minutes in filming something, you're less likely to get into a lot of film festivals, which I want you to make something good enough you could get it in some festivals. All right, so step three. Now tell at least three people your story. Try and tell it in a way that the story is cohesive, makes sense, like you're captivating them. Like, when you have the attention of everyone in the room and you're telling a story. All right, so tell it to around three people, preferably students, but if tell your family, fine. Get feedback. How are they reacting? They don't even necessarily need to say something. People know when a good story is a good story. Um, Oftentimes you'll find, as I do, being a filmmaker, everybody's a critic and everybody's got something to add. Um, Sometimes it's good advice, sometimes it's bad, sometimes it gets in your head, sometimes I don't want to hear it. Like, I don't pitch my ideas to too many people because I hate often when they're like, instead of it being a 24-year-old college student, why not make it a 54-year-old donkey, and then it's just like, please get out of my head. So, but the idea is for you to tell it out loud and just kind of get that initial feedback. So now rewrite the same story in two paragraphs. You don't have to incorporate any notes or feedback that you got, but sometimes a good idea is a good idea. Again, you're not tethered to the story for the semester, but in the next module, you'll begin writing your first draft as a script. So try and think of something that you might like. Maybe after telling it twice, you're like, I hate this idea. Don't do it. Go back and redo, this. You only need to turn in one thing. So if your idea changes, that's fine. But if you go back, I'd like you to do these steps because it'll take your film to a deeper level. You'll get more people liking it. The more people you get liking it, that's the better. That's going to make you a better filmmaker. You're going to, we're designed to make our films so the audience enjoy it and get something out of it. All right, so that's your story idea assignment. And then we have, that is also due, I'm very sorry, that is due on the 18th of February as well. All right, commercial. A few of you let me know that kind of social media and commercial filming, being a professional videographer, is in the cards for you. And I've done commercials with cinema students in the past, and I thought let's go ahead and bring that back and see what happens. So please watch this lecture over. It's not very long because obviously we're not a straight up media class. We're focused on cinema, but there's a lot of overlap, and making commercials could be a good way for you to generate revenue as a student right now. So there's the video. This is the PDF that corresponds with it. So after the lecture, I have some commercials in there for you to watch. Click on this, and you can scroll through it and get to the commercials just by clicking on the PDF links, the links within the PDF. The assignment itself, and I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Blackboard is the devil. For some reason, this is how I typed it out, and how it's coming out is totally different. So I want you to see it from this point of view so you can make sure you can see it fine. So I want you to this will be a good way to see some of the similarities and differences between shooting film and shooting commercials. Again, go over this after you've watched the lecture, but I'm going to give you this in a nutshell. You must complete a full shot list that includes every shot with a description. You're going to be doing either a 30-second or 1 minute length, so minimum of 7 shots is what you need. At the bottom is a non-narrative shot list. You can download if you want, but you can kind of see. Here's an example: scene number, location. So scene 1 is a bedroom. It's a wide shot. Alarm goes off. Dude wakes up, gets out of bed, and my note: make sure the clothes look ready to work out. Scene 2, bedroom, close up. He looks poised to go to the gym. Make sure we are close on his face. That's what I called it, close up. And then scene 2 is in a kitchen. Oh, and remember, we go shot A and B. So shot A, the first shot, wide shot. He drinks pre-workout drink. See the label clear. So you can kind of see where I'm going with it, right? So that'll be the shot list that you create. It can be about anything. This I should have started with. It can be about any product, service, club, organization. You can make it up. You can go to an actual organization and say, hey, I have to shoot something for a class. Would you like me to shoot a commercial for you? And they might say, yeah. They might say, yeah, and we'll pay you money for it too. I don't know. You'll just have to go talk to them. Um, so yeah, that shot list that comes with it, that's to keep you concise, to know exactly what you want, so you're not going there and wasting your time and the client's time. You should know the commercial before it's even shot. Don't turn in the shot list with the video. You go down 10% on the grade. All right, so the commercial requirements, 30 seconds or 1 minute, but it must be edited to the frame. So exactly 30 seconds or exactly 1 minute. A title card at the end of the video, 5 second long, and that's going into your 30 second or 1 minute. Um, 30 seconds long must have a tagline or call to action, and then put the credit for any licensed music used, just to be safe. And especially if you're getting paid, to do it, I would not use, like, again, a Beyonce song or something like that. You could get in trouble, but. All shots must be in focus. Again, if you're doing something artistic, if you're racking focus, so you're going from blurry to in focus, and it's purposeful, that's different than it just being out of focus. The audio must be balanced. Lighting must be consistent, high key or believable, such as lighting at night or day. But I would stay high key as much as possible. Again, if you're shooting something at night, it's believable. You'd see more shadow, but I still would be careful and not make it overly dramatic. Like, don't light it like the face of the Joker. All right. Minimum of 7 shots showing the content of the video. So, and then 24 frames. I'm okay if you shoot it in 30. In fact, I'll even put, since it is a commercial, this is one of those times where 30 frames per second would be acceptable. So you can see the breakdown here of the grading, and that's pretty much it for the assignments. So just to recap, you have your frame rate, 2 videos, just turn a little something in. You have your story idea, you have your commercial. This is all due by the 18th. So you have more like 2.5. You really have 3 weeks to work on this. All right. I'm going to move on to fundamentals now. So if you're intermediate, don't forget to email me if you have any questions. All right, fundamental people. I'm making module 2 available. Make sure you're structuring yourself out well. This module is a little bit longer, but you do have more time to get most stuff done. Watch these lectures in order. You'll have a lecture from me on editing, a video on editing terms, a short video from Walter Murch, who's one of the premier editors of all time, kind of breaking down different ways to think about editing and his approach. Here's a tutorial on Premiere Pro if you've never used it before. And this will correspond with one of the edits that you'll do, so you can follow it along as you're doing it if you need to. Export settings and aspect ratio. Please watch this before you edit. This will kind of give you the tools you need to know how to set everything up correctly and how to export, which is the delivery. And then here's another one. If you're a fan of the original Star Wars, this is a cool video on how the edit saved the movie. If we didn't have it edited perfectly, I don't think this would be a hit. There's no requirement, there's no assignment with it, but if you're a serious filmmaker, it's worth a watch. Okay, so assignments. These will be based on the editing that you watch. So for this first part, based on what you learned about editing in this module, please find a scene from a film that you feel uses editing to help shape the story. Is there anything that stands out? Is it fast, slow, quick? Is there action, jump cuts? What about the scene stood out? Don't just pick a simple dialogue scene that's like 3 shots. Look for something that makes you go, wow. If you can, post a link. Um, write 1 to 2 paragraphs about the scene. Why did they cut where they cut? What made it work? Count how many cuts there are in the scene and count the number of shots used. A scene may have only a few different shots, but might be cutting back and forth. Okay, so that's part one. Part two, briefly explain as best you can Walter Murch's 6-tiered approach to finding the right cut. That'll be that Walter Murch video I was telling you about. When you watch that, you'll understand. He explains, each different section fairly clearly. Um, Ask me if it's not making sense, or you can dig around a little bit on the internet and find examples. But he shapes it out pretty well, and it'll help you in the long run to understand how you edit. Okay, and then secondly, please watch the following lectures on frame rate. They are right there. Neither of them are very long. Just simply write that um, you know how to adjust your frame rate on the device you'll be using this semester, and that you understand frame rate, and if you need to, that you'll email me questions about it. And I say that because filming in 24 frames per second is very important. These will both help make sense of what frame rate is. So this, you don't need to write an essay or anything, just something simple and to the point. And for both these, just double checking, I got the right, due on the 18th, due on the 18th. All right, so not too terribly hard. You'll have a little bit more time. You'll have more like 3 weeks for this. So I gave you just kind of like that little bit extra. All right. Edits. You will edit 2 different videos. They're kind of broken down. This one will correspond to that Premiere tutorial under the lectures that I was telling you about. This is where you can get Premiere Pro if you haven't installed it already. You can get your account. Basically, you get a license to be able to log into any computer with Premiere. So it's not like you download. I mean, you'll download the software on a device, that you're using, but you can go to any device and log in, and it should work. If you're having financial issues, there's one called Filmora that I've had students use. It leaves a ugly watermark, but if you're not wanting to invest in Premiere Pro for the semester, this could be an alternative. The only drawback is I don't know it well, so you'll have to verse yourself in it. I can always help you try and figure out what it is, but if it's 11:30 at night before something is due and you're having issues, don't call me to ask to help try and figure that out during business hours. So this is a 50-point assignment. Use all the video and audio that I provide. Make sure your video and audio is smooth. Make sure you edit the narration and show what they're saying. If they're talking about an eagle nest, show an eagle nest. I want you to upload 2 things, your project file and the video exported. So what I'll show you here, if I can find. Okay, so this, when I see the Premiere Pro logo, that if I click on that, that is going to open up Premiere Pro to where I was working on this, right? That's why it's got the Premiere Pro logo. That is called the project file. You can see right here is my video file, right? So make sure you upload both of these. A lot of times I have students turn on this, or turn this in, and I don't need that, right? Because if I don't have your footage, I can't link to it. So make sure you turn both of these in. The reason I'm having you do that is so that you can see the difference between the two. Before you turn in anything, go back and watch it. So after you export, your video will come out like this. You watch it and make sure it's good. Don't worry right now because you're going to watch tutorials on how to do that. All right. So to get the footage, you'll click on the link that I provide here, and you'll have 2 different things. I don't know what this bin is for. Don't worry about it. I didn't want to delete it because somebody else uses this, and I don't know if their students do anything, but just right click, download. So we're downloading the video footage. It's zipping a file. And of course, it's going to take forever. Let me do the, oh, it's already zipped. There we go. All right. So being careful and about how you organize your file structure is important. So this is a new project. So what I do, I'm under my desktop. I'm on my SAU 2024. Let's just say that's where I want to keep all my project stuff. I'd create a new folder, call it Eagle Edit. And then this is sending me a zipped folder. So I'm just going to click save. Okay. I'm going to go to that, double click on it, click on video, click on extract all. Then it's going to ask me where I want to do it. This is probably a little different on a Mac, but you can follow the same principles. So it's asking now where I want to save this. When I extract it, because it zipped everything down, all right, now I got to extract it from that. So where do I want to save it? This video folder, I'm in my Eagle Edit, select folder, extract. Cool. So now on my desktop, I have SAU 2024, my Eagle Edit, and I have a video folder. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead just because I know I'll need it. New folder, audio. Okay. Same thing. Close out of there. The Eagle audio. Download. Get a drink of coffee while it thinks. Zipping this file together. It's thinking about it. It's really thinking about it. If we look inside of here, what you'll see is, there we go. All right. So it zipped it, and when it got done, it just popped it up. So I'm going to save this zip one in the audio. And so there it is. For some reason, there's a lecture in here. I'll just leave it. This is the narration for the video, and this is just some music to help you underlay and to know how to balance narration from some music. Again, when you watch lectures, this all makes sense. Just showing you how to kind of keep yourself organized. So again, I can look at things. Now I have an audio and video. Once you extract it, you don't even really need that anymore. Your video shots are all right there. Cool. All right. So you will edit all of that together. Again, watching the lectures, it's all going to make sense. And then let's look back at the edits. You'll have a second scene to edit. This is a horror scene. Just basically same rules apply. Make sure you're adding 5 seconds of black before you start that. And I think this is for the Eagle as well. You'll learn how to make titles that you can put your name at the start. Just follow these directions. Okay. Quite simple. Once you've done the Eagle one, this one will be easier. This is just a narrative scene. This was shot by a company to give students a chance to edit like actual footage. All right. So for this one, it's just video. The audio is already baked in. And the only difference is I want you to follow the script. So read the script and follow along with it. All right. Again, these are both due. Let me just make sure. I had to change things around a little bit with the snow days that we had, but these should both be changed to the 18th. Let me just double check that before I send you on your way. Beautiful. All right. You should now be live. And again, email me if you have any questions whatsoever. Here is a link to Premiere Pro, again, so you can get that if you haven't already. And then please also read Bare Bones Chapter 3. That should get you going until the 18th of February, and then module 3. We'll just keep going onwards and upwards.